minutes to 3, Andy Comfort on BBC Radio Humberside. The remains of a Roman hotel have been found near Driffield. Now, archaeologists say it's one of the oldest known Roman buildings in Yorkshire. They're keeping the location of the mansio, to give it its Roman name, a secret, but they are planning to return to the site next summer to carry out further explorations. Well, Maya Pina Decia is a spokeswoman for DigVentures. That's the company behind this excavation, and can tell us more. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
So this used to be a hotel, you think? Why? Tell us about that. Why do you think that?
Yeah, so our working theory at the moment is that it was a kind of a Roman B&B or a stopping point, or basically the equivalent of a Roman motorway service station kind of thing. We think it would have been the kind of place where travelling Roman officials would have stopped off overnight to rest and refuel on their way to some of the surrounding forts while travelling on official business. So it's really exciting to find something like that, a little bit different to what you usually hear about when people make Roman discoveries.
So what is left of the building?
That's a really great question. Well, so far we've opened up an area that's about 20 metres squared, just a bit over, and what we've been able to see so far is a courtyard that seems to have a wooden structure in the middle. We've got little doorways, we've got some of the surrounding buildings, there are some really substantial walls. But I think what's most exciting actually about what we found of this building so far is that we found a food storage area and a bunch of Roman rubbish pits as well. So it's going to give us a really great insight into the kinds of things that people were eating, drinking and throwing away during their stay at this Roman hotel or B&B.
Wow, so how can you tell that? How can you tell what they would have been eating at the time?
Well, you can find all sorts of food remains, so animal bones with cut marks. You can find the kind of pottery that they would have been using for storing things in, and the kind of cooking pots that they had as well as what they were serving up their dishes in. We've been finding small bowls, jugs, plates, dishes, amphora that they would have used for storing things. So you can start to build up a picture from all of that evidence.
I'm always fascinated when I visit Roman remains, how you've been able to tell what different rooms are used for. So whether that was a bathroom, you talked about storage rooms and so on, whether that was an oven, etc. How are you able to do that when you come across remains like this, to work out what the different rooms were at the time?
Well, to be honest, it's a little bit like being a detective. You have to piece together different bits of evidence. So there's a certain amount that you can tell from the layout of a building, but then there's also what you find within each room and what seems to be in there. So you're right, you might find something like an oven, which would suggest you've got a kitchen area, or you might find something that's obviously for food storage, in which case you've got a kind of pantry. Or you might find other evidence that tells you it was a place for sleeping or washing or whatever. You just, in the same way that you can walk around your house today and you can pretty much figure out what each room was used for by what's in it.
So you describe it as a possible service station of its time. So what route would it have been on then? Where would people have been travelling to and from who would have been perhaps staying overnight here?
Well, it's sort of close to a network of roads that extends across the whole region, really. There's a road that goes east-west towards York, but then there's other forts, and there's roads that lead to other forts like Stakston and Hayton as well. So our location is kind of in the middle of a whole circle of forts in the area, so it's really well placed to be a stopping point for those kind of places.
And can we tell whether it was quite luxurious? Because some of the Roman accommodation could be quite nice, couldn't it? What sort of standard was this?
Yeah, certainly. So if we're right and this is a mansio, it would have been the kind of place where you're putting up Roman officials. So people with a certain rank and status. So you would expect it to be fairly nice, actually. We can tell from some of the pottery that we found that they were certainly trying to impress some of the people they were serving dishes to. There's some really highly decorated stuff, including what we call Samian ware, which is a kind of pottery that's really red and polished and highly decorated, lots of lovely designs on them. So they were probably trying to impress, we can tell from what they were serving. But these kind of places, they would sometimes also have bathing places as well, so they could, wash and keep clean and look after themselves as well. So, yeah, we think it would have been quite a nice place to stay, certainly later on.
And I mentioned that you're planning to go back and carry out further explorations. So what happens now then? What happens from here?
Yeah, well, I suppose the most important thing to mention is that we didn't make this discovery all on our own. We had people from all over the local area and all over the country who came to join the dig. And we'll be hoping to do the same next year. So in December, we're going to start another round of crowdfunding so that we can do another excavation next year. And we hope that lots of people will come and join us again and help us figure out whether this is a mansio, what else it could be if it's not. And so from here, our next step is to send off all of our discoveries to a couple of Roman experts in the area who will start to look at dates and tell us more details about what they mean. And then from there, we'll set up another project and hope to be back next summer to continue the investigation, hopefully aided by lots of people from the local area.
Yes, and do let us know, because we'd love to get involved with that and help you out. And in terms of what we learned then, you've already told us some of the stuff we learned, and you're sending what you found to Roman experts. How much of a picture do you think from now we'll be able to build up about Roman life in this area?
Well, I think one of the most interesting things for this is that it's quite an early site, and compared to what we know about the 3rd and 4th centuries and life in a Roman villa during those later centuries of the Roman occupation, we have relatively little knowledge and evidence for what was happening in the very early days. And this site really seems to date from the earliest period, so from just when the Romans had crossed the Humber and started to expand northwards. So this potentially has a huge amount to tell us about what was happening and what it was like to live in and travel in the region in that early time.
Absolutely fascinating. Do keep us posted. Thank you very much, Dave, for your time this afternoon. That's Maya Pina Dacia from DigVentures, one of the people carrying out the excavation work there, what they call a mansio, a kind of Roman hotel near Driffield in East Yorkshire.